Hey NFL fans, if you didn't know, we have a Raiders channel on YouTube. So if you like this video, go check it out. YouTube.com/Raiders Report. Not a Raiders fan? Sorry to hear that. Shout out your favorite team, and maybe this next video that you watch, I'm going to be able to convert you to the dark side.
The reason why I think the Raiders could end up cutting 4 players is, well, we were pretty active in free agency, but what does that mean? Now we have only $6.5 million, which is 27th in the NFL, after signing 11 players in free agency, after re-signing and extending 6, and oh yeah, we still have yet to put money to O'Leary and Eric Kush. And the reason why you're going to have to probably cut some players as well, you're going to have to go out and draft some players in the NFL draft, and that also requires a little bit of money. So on today's video, I have put together 4 players that I think that the Raiders could end up cutting to save a little cap space, and I'm going to tell you at the end of the video how much in total it's going to end up saving. So who wants to be on the Raiders Report? I get a lot of people who are like, hey, Mitch, how do I get on the show? I'll tell you. I want you to follow me on Instagram at Mitchell Renz 365, and I want you to DM me the word feature, okay? So be quick, because the first people that do it, I'm going to put you on the show. I'll give you the details on what you need to do. Let's dive in now to my player here, number 1, and I'm ranking these guys on how much money we could save. So number 1 player is Gabe Jackson, set to make $9.6 million, and if you end up cutting him, it costs $0. Now, for those of you that are loyal watchers of the show, you'll know that I've talked about the trade rumors circling around Gabe Jackson, and it really shouldn't surprise anyone by my note there on the screen. If Gabe Jackson is not traded, he will likely be cut, because you have to look at what a lot of the other moves that the Raiders have made. Now, I think when talking about a trade with Gabe Jackson, you got to almost look at what happened last year with Kelechi Osemele. I'll be honest, I was kind of surprised that the Raiders traded Osemele for a 5th rounder, and I think if you're going to move on from Gabe Jackson, you're probably going to get a 4th or 5th round pick, because you got to be a little bit scared with the knee injuries for the 27-year-old, and right now with the Big C, teams, they might not be confident in bringing back Jackson. So for me, I always tell people it's important to watch our videos. That way you can connect the dots, and that way you can see what exactly is happening. And this is why I think that the Raiders are moving on from Jackson. On December 30th, you signed Richie Incognito. On January 9th, then you go out, you re-sign Denzel Good. March 9th, that's when the trade rumors start coming out about Gabe Jackson. And then just 2 weeks later, basically, you go out and sign Eric Kush. So right now, this is the Raiders' offensive line depth chart. And believe me, I don't want anyone to think I don't like Gabe Jackson. I absolutely love Gabe Jackson. And since the Raiders drafted him in 2014, he has been one of the most solid players that this team has had. So Gabe, please don't get it twisted. But if you do move on from Jackson, I think this is what the offensive line depth chart looks like right now with no other moves. I think the Raiders, and John Gruden especially, really like Denzel Good. And I think that's one of the reasons why you saw them bring him back before, well, you made a decision on what you're going to do with Gabe Jackson. So today's video is all around players that should get cut. And I'm going to make this comment the pinned comment on today's YouTube video. So for those of you that are watching on YouTube, you might get with an ad break. While the ad is playing, I want you to scroll on down, because, again, this is going to be the pinned comment. And I want you to let me know, should the Raiders cut or keep Gabe Jackson? The number 2 player on my list, it's Derek Carr, set to make $1.85 million, dead money $0 million. And the reason why that this is very likely, in my opinion, Darren Waller, one of the best tight ends in the NFL, Foster Moreau, 5 touchdowns last year in his rookie year. Sure, he's coming off a knee injury, but let's be real. They both played very, very well last season. Then you got to look at Jason Witten and Nick O'Leary. You signed him in free agency. Now, I'll be honest. I think O'Leary, I'd be pretty surprised if he ends up making that final roster. But there was a reason why you went out and got Jason Witten and got Nick O'Leary. Witten, he's going to bring leadership traits, and I think he's going to help change the culture. Plus, I think he's a better blocker. And if we're talking about just blocking in general, Nick O'Leary, if he really does anything on this team besides block, I'll be angry. And no offense to Nick O'Leary, it's just we're taking away catches and we're taking away potential red zone targets for Waller and, well, Foster Moreau. So you add O'Leary, you add Witten, and right now, in my opinion, this is what the depth chart looks like. And Carrier, I think, played much better than what I thought he was going to last year. And again, this is nothing against Carrier. It's just we've added a lot more talent. Plus, you already have Darren Waller, Foster Moreau. So why am I going to pay a fourth-string tight end $1.85 million when if I cut him, I can just save $1.85 and invest that into players in the draft, or heck, maybe another player in free agency. So should the Raiders cut Derek Carrier? I want you to give me a Y for yes, or I want you to give me an N for no. I'm going to type my Y for yes, obviously. I want to save the money, and Carrier is a great dude. I know him. He grew up near me from Pennsylvania, went to Cal U. But I think if we're talking about what gives us the best chance to just win, baby, it's moving on from a tight end that's scheduled to make $1.85 million. Now, for those of you that watched yesterday's Rumors Cut, I put these jerseys on the screen, and maybe you missed your chance to get that awesome deal. However, these jerseys are still under $80. So go to chatsports.com/Raiders jersey. If you want to throw in the comments which jersey you'd get, hey, I'm all about it. You can get a Josh Jacobs. You can get a Max Crosby, but it's also every single Raiders jersey, 20% off. Cool? Go to chatsports.com/Raiders jersey. If you forget the link, if you forget what it's spelled like, I'll put it in the comments and I'll put it in the descriptions as well. Let's go to the next player here on my potential cap cuts. Zay Jones. And Zay is scheduled to make $1.4 million. Again, you can see the dead cap hit up there, $0 million. And when the Raiders went out and traded for Zay, I'll be honest, I was actually kind of eager to see what they were going to do because Mike Mayock absolutely loved Zay Jones when he was coming out of East Carolina. But he didn't really put a lot together on the field, and I don't really think he had that great of chemistry with Derek Carr. So then also you go out, you sign Nelson Agholor, and let's get one thing straight. The Raiders, they're going to add talent in the draft, and if they don't add talent in the first round, I'm going to go bananas. But giving Nelson Agholor a very, very favorable contract for the Raiders, okay, 1 year, $1.05 million. But the other thing that Nelson Agholor is going to bring to a football team that Zay Jones doesn't, and if it's between Agholor and Jones, I think they pick Agholor because of his ability with special teams. So right now, in my opinion, this is what the Raiders wide receiver depth chart looks like, okay? You got Tyrell Williams as your number one receiver. You got Nelson Agholor as your two, Hunter Renfrow in the slot. And then as you can see, I got Zay Jones underneath Renfrow. But that's not the plan. This is our plan. Our plan is to go out and get a number one wide receiver. So I'm just saying, hypothetically speaking, let's say we get a CeeDee Lamb. You can put Henry Ruggs on here. You can put Jerry Jeudy on screen. This is our plan. So why am I going to pay a fifth-string wide receiver in a Zay Jones who doesn't give us a lot of special teams ability, $1.4 million, where if I cut him, I can save some money? So how about this question? Okay, the Raiders report, all about the interaction. Now, normally I just say, hey, type N for Nelson or type Z for Zay. I'm going to change it up a little bit, okay? So I'm going to show you what they did in 2019, and I want you to tell me who's a better wide receiver for this Raiders team. If you think it's Nelson Agholor, type Nelson Agholor in the comments. If you think it's Zay Jones, type Zay Jones in the comments. I'm going to be going through the comments. I'll be looking to see who typed what, so let me know who's the better receiver for the Raiders. Now, if you're bored at home like Dylan and I, yes, you can now challenge me and you can challenge producer Dylan. So I've got a lot of push-up contests. I've had some people sending me shots. Basically, if you're bored at home because of the Big C, Dylan and I, we're stuck at home, but we're still making videos. So if you want to challenge me, hit me up on Instagram at Mitchell Renz 365, but you also got to challenge Dylan at D_tip. Now, here's some of the challenges that have come through. Shout out to my man, Miguel. He challenged me to 10 push-ups, and if you want to challenge me, you just got to make sure to tag me. Now, I love this one, Miguel. You started the train, but from Raider Thanos, this is sick. So he not only drops down and gives me 10 push-ups, which you can see the video. After doing the 10 push-ups, my man's like, you know what? I need to hydrate. I need to take a shot. So if these are the challenges you want to give Dylan or I, all you got to do, tag me on Instagram at Mitchell Renz 365 and tag Dylan at D_tip. The last player of Raiders that could potentially get cut, it's DeShone Kizer, who is going to make $1.14 million. And as you can see up there, the dead money, $0. So the Raiders, they went out, they signed Marcus Mariota, who I think one of the only reasons why Kizer was brought in last year was for the mobility. Mariota, he's a better mobile quarterback than DeShone Kizer. So really, there's no need to keep him. Plus, the Raiders placed a 5th-round tender on Nathan Peterman. Now, I'll be honest. I would probably rather have Kizer than Peterman, but for some reason, John Gruden loves himself some Peterman. Probably can't say that on air. But when you talk about the reasons of moving on Kizer, you got to talk about Marcus Mariota, because the Raiders, they gave him a 2-year, $17.6 million contract. He's guaranteed to make $7.5 million this year in year 1. He's got incentives that can go up to $37.5. Sure, that's basically only if they go on to win the Super Bowl. And also, there are rumors that the Raiders could potentially even draft a quarterback, which you guys will know because that's what I said yesterday. So you got Derek Carr as your 1, Mariota's your 2, Kizer's your 3, and if you already placed a 5th-round tender on Peterman, I'm sorry, but there's no way I'm going to pay a 3rd-string quarterback in Kizer $1.14 million. So this is the question that I'm going to bring up on screen. And for those of you that don't know, I used to live in Germany, so yeah, I speak a little German. So should the Raiders cut DeShone Kizer? I want you to type J for ja, because that's how you say yes. Or I want you to type 9, because literally when you say 9 in German, that means no. So let me know in the comments section. So you want to know how much the money the Raiders can save with all these cap cuts? I'll let you know after this YouTube ad break. The Raiders can save up to $14 million, and I'll be honest, I did round up, but just a little bit. So you move on from Gabe Jackson, you save 9.6. Derek Carr, 1.85. Zay Jones, 1.4. And then DeShone Kizer, 1.14, which again adds up to about $14 million. So that's why I think the Raiders should cut these 4 guys. But for me, the show, I love doing it, and I appreciate people that watch the very, very end. So if you did make it to the end, I want you to comment below a player that the Raiders should cut that I didn't mention in the video. Cool? If you haven't subscribed yet, make sure you do. YouTube.com/Raiders Report.
Raider Nation, what's going on? Is this the #1 Raiders channel on YouTube? For Chucky Heads, believe it, baby. And if you haven't already, subscribe right here. I'm giving you Chucky Heads news, rumors, Raider Nation rumors. And look at this. I'm making your life easier. Check out my next video. Thanks for watching, and go Raiders.